Good morning, sir. Good morning, classmates. We are the reporter of Memory Hierarchy, prepared by Franco Jonel, Guancia Sherry, Liza Jeline, Salibio Giselle, and Riosora Christian. What is memory hierarchy? By the way, I'm Cheryl A. Guancia, the first reporter. The memory unit is essential component in any digital computer since it is needed for strong programs and data. Not all accumulated information is needed by the CPU at the same time. Therefore, it is more economical to use low-cost storage devices to serve as a backup for storing the information that is not currently used by CPU. The computer memory hierarchy is a pyramid structure that is commonly used to illustrate the significant differences among memory types. The memory unit that directly communicates with CPU is called the main memory. Devices that provide backup storage are called auxiliary memory. Auxiliary memory, which means is referred to as the lowest cost, highest space, and lowest approach storage in a computer system. The memory hierarchy system consists of all storage devices employed in computer system from the slow by high capacity auxiliary memory to a relatively faster main memory to an even smaller and faster cache memory. This is the provided picture of memory hierarchy. CPU is the highest among the 5 memory. CPU has the characteristic of super fast, super expensive, tiny capacity. And CPU cache, faster, expensive, small capacity. Physical memory, fast, price reasonably, average capacity. Solid state memory, average speed, price reasonably, average capacity. Last is the virtual memory, slow, cheap, and large capacity. Under memory hierarchy, it has register memory. It is the smallest and the fastest memory. A register temporarily holds frequently used data, instructions, and memory address that are to be used by CPU. They hold instructions that are currently processed by the CPU. All data is required to pass through registers before it can be processed. So they are used by CPU to process the data entered by the users. Register holds a small amount of data around 32 bits to 64 bits. Last, the speed of a CPU depends on the number of bits of registers that are built into the CPU.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christian Riosora, and I'm the next reporter of Memory Hierarchy. Cache memory. In the active portions of the program and data are placed in a fast small memory, the average access time can be reduced, thus reducing the total execution time of the program. Such as fast small memory is referred to as cache memory. The cache is the fastest component in the memory hierarchy and approaches the speed of CPU component. RAM. RAM is a chip is better suited for communication with the CPU if it has one more control inputs that select the chip when needed. Read and write memory that initially doesn't contain any data. The computing system that it is used in usual stores data at various locations to retrieve it later from these locations. Its data pins are bidirectional as opposite to those of ROM that are output only. It loses its data once the power is removed, so it is volatile memory. It has a directional select signal RW. When RW equals 1, the chip outputs data to the rest circuits. When RW equals 0, it inputs data from the rest of the circuit. RAM types: static RAM or SRAM. Each cell stores bit with a 6-transistor diode circuit. Retains value indefinitely as long as it keeps powered. Relatively insensitive to disturbance such as electrical noise. Faster and more expensive than DRAM. Dynamic RAM or DRAM. Each cell stores bit with a capacitor and transistor. Value must be refreshed every 10 to 100 ms. Sensitive to disturbances, slower and cheaper than SRAM. And this is the example of the RAM and the ROM. RAM stands for random access memory and ROM stands for read-only memory. The difference between the two is the RAM is a volatile memory that temporarily stores the file you are working on, while the ROM is a non-volatile memory that permanently stores instructions for your computer.
Good day, this is Julian Lisa and I am the next reporter. Under memory hierarchy, ROM. ROM is used for storing programs that are permanently resident in the computer and for tables of constant that do not change in value once the production of the computer is completed. The ROM portion of main memory is needed for storing an initial program called Bootstrap Loader. Bootstrap Loader means also known as a program or Bootstrap Loader is a special operating system software that loads into the working memory of a computer after startup, which is to start the computer software operating when power is turned off. ROM types. Maps ROM. Program which its data when the chips is fabricated. PROM. Programmable RAM by the user using a standard PROM programmer by burning some special types of fuses. Once programmed will not be possible to program it again. EPROM. Erasable RAM. The chip can be erased and chip reprogrammed. Programming process consists in charging some internal capacitors. The UV light make those capacitors to leak their charge, thus resetting the chip. EEPROM. Electrically erasable PROM. It is possible to modify individual locations of the memory, leaving other unchanged. One common use of the EEPROM is in BIOS of personal CPU. Central Processing Unit is a principal part of any digital computer system, generally composed of the main memory, control unit, and arithmetic logic unit. In modern computers, the CPU is contained on an integrated circuit chip called a microprocessor.
Hi guys, my name is Giselle Salibio. I'm the last reporter. CPU cache. CPU cache is a hardware cache used by the central processing unit of the computer to reduce the average cost to access data from the main memory. A cache is a smaller, faster memory located closer to processor core, which store copies of the data from frequently used main memory locations. Physical memory, alternatively referred to as physical storage or real storage. Physical memory is a memory that exists in the form of modules like RAM. Essentially, it's a memory you can touch, unlike virtual memory, which is method of creating memory by swapping data between the RAM and the hard drive. The total amount of physical memory on computer depends on how many streaks of RAM are installed and their storage capacity. For example, if a computer has two 64 MB memory modules installed, it was a total of 128 MB of physical memory. Solid state memory. A solid state drive SSD is a new generation of storage devices used in computers. SSDs use flash-based memory, which is much faster than traditional mechanical hard disks. Upgrading to an SSD is one of the best ways to speed up your computer. Virtual memory. Virtual memory is a memory management technique where secondary memory can be used as if it were a part of the main memory. Virtual memory uses both hardware and software to enable a computer to compensate for physical memory shortages, temporarily transferring data from random access memory to disk storage.
That would be all. Thank you for listening.